Nobody could prepare Kimberly Barnes for what happened on September 1st, 2019. Kimberly had sent her 10-year-old son to a friend's birthday party, and instead of the fun thrill of playing with friends, things ended in tragedy when he fell 20 feet from the Zipline ride into the hard concrete floor. The results of the fall were broken bones, a collapsed lung, and a brain injury which he has to live with for the rest of his life. But how did it happen? And what really went wrong? This is the devastating tale of the Skyrider, zipline accident that nearly claimed the life of an adventurous 10-year-old boy. Kimberly Barnes fondly remembers her son as an inquisitive, adventurous boy full of energy. He was not just an ordinary 10-year-old, but one whose eyes sparkled with a love for discovery and exploration. His energy was infectious, and his spirit was free and wild, always craving new experiences. Even at a young age, he had remarkable resilience and a spirit that refused to be confined. He was constantly on the move, eager to explore his surroundings, and an ardent lover of adventure. He wasn't one to shy away from a challenge. Instead, he embraced it, taking every opportunity to try something new. The night of the accident was meant to be just another one of his adventures. It was a friend's birthday, and what better way to celebrate than at the Urban Air Trampoline and Adventure Park? This was their playground, a place filled with thrilling activities that perfectly catered to their youthful vigor. With the promise of an exciting evening, the young boy looked forward to a night of fun and laughter, unaware of the tragic turn it was about to take. With the promise of an exciting evening, the young boy looked forward to a night of fun and laughter, unaware of the tragic turn it was about to take. And in the midst of all the attractions, one stood out: the Skyrider. The Skyrider was his favorite. It was like a bird's flight, right in the middle of the Urban Air Trampoline and Adventure Park. This was the zipline ride that tickled his sense of adventure, and boy did he love it. The ride worked simply enough. It used a harness that would fit around the rider, securing them safely. Then, off they'd go, sailing along a track that hung from the ceiling of the park. As the wind brushed against his face and the ground below turned into a blur, he felt like he was flying. It was a feeling of freedom and joy that every ride on the Skyrider brought him. That evening was supposed to be no different, but little did anyone know that the unthinkable was about to happen. That evening he was soaring through the air, flying like a bird, the feeling of freedom embracing him. The Skyrider was doing what it did best, providing thrills. But what nobody saw coming was the dark twist that this joyous ride was about to take. On that day, a day of celebration turned into a day of despair. Kimberly's son, full of excitement and laughter, decided to take another ride on the Skyrider at his friend's birthday party. The same ride he had enjoyed countless times before now seemed different. As he was lifted off the ground, securely harnessed, or so it seemed, he began his flight. With each passing second, the ground became more of a blur, and the wind against his face became more brisk. He was in his element, completely unaware that the unthinkable was about to happen. Then, in an instant that will forever be etched in the minds of those who witnessed it, everything changed. The boy who was flying high just a moment ago was now plunging rapidly toward the ground, a fall of over 20 feet. A moment of silence followed by the devastating sound of impact. Children's giggling turned into screams, and the park went from being a place of celebration to the scene of a terrifying accident. The chaos that ensued after the terrible accident was indescribable. As the screams echoed around the park, it felt as though time had stopped. The scene was a heartbreaking sight for all present, but most especially for Kimberly, who was watching her son's motionless body on the ground. The joyous evening now turned into a horrifying nightmare. Once the initial shock passed, the critical question arose: what had caused this tragic accident? Investigators were immediately on the scene, meticulously examining the equipment involved in the fall. After a thorough inspection, they discovered a chilling truth. The safety harness that was supposed to keep the young boy secure had failed, not because it was faulty, but because it had not been correctly fastened. The leg straps, which played a pivotal role in ensuring the rider's safety, had been left unbuckled. These straps, designed to bear the weight of the rider and keep them securely attached to the zipline, were completely loose. This crucial oversight led to the harness slipping off mid-flight, resulting in the catastrophic fall. In the blink of an eye, the vibrant 10-year-old who loved adventure was fighting for his life. From the park, Kimberly got the news that turned her world upside down. Her son was being airlifted to Tampa General Hospital. The injuries he sustained were nothing short of catastrophic. Multiple broken bones were the immediate visible sign of the horrific accident, but the unseen injuries were even more alarming. A collapsed lung made every breath a struggle, and a severe brain injury threatened his life and future. The lively boy, who had been filled with laughter and joy a few hours earlier, was now lying unconscious, surrounded by a team of doctors and nurses. Kimberly rushed to the hospital with a million thoughts racing through her mind. Seeing her son in such a condition was unimaginable. The pain of it was overwhelming. Each passing moment was excruciating as she waited for any updates on her son's condition. Those first few days after the accident were a blur of fear, anxiety, and tears. The boy had to undergo multiple surgeries. Each time, Kimberly held her breath, praying for her son's recovery. In the midst of all this chaos and fear, one thing remained clear. This tragic incident was preventable. The safety oversight that had led to her son's near-fatal fall was something Kimberly couldn't ignore. This was a pain no other family should have to endure. With her son fighting for his life in the hospital, Kimberly was left to face the hard truth that the amusement park's neglect had almost cost her son his life. This realization sparked a fire in her. She decided she would do everything she could to ensure that no other child would have to go through what her son had experienced. Taking a deep breath, she set out on her mission for justice. Kimberly filed a lawsuit against the Urban Air Trampoline and Adventure Park. She pointed to operator error as the cause of the accident, alleging that the employees hadn't secured her son's harness properly. In the legal documents, Kimberly demanded $15,000 in damages. This wasn't just about the medical bills, which were piling up with every surgery and every night spent in the hospital. It was about the pain her son was enduring, the suffering that was etched onto his face with every pained breath he took. It was about the innocence he had lost and the normal childhood he was robbed of due to this devastating incident. Kimberly stood strong in court, her determination unwavering. Every word she spoke and every tear she shed was a testament to her love for her son and her resolve to fight for him. The lawsuit was more than just a quest for compensation. It was a mother's plea to make sure that no other child, no other family, would have to go through the same nightmare. As the dust settled in the courtroom, Kimberly's fight for justice wasn't just about her son anymore. It was about every child who had ever dreamed of soaring across the sky in the adventure park. The judge's gavel coming down echoed the grim reality of the situation. But this isn't just a tale of an accident, a lawsuit, or a fight for justice. It's a story that holds a lesson for us all, a lesson that could save lives. Despite our trust in systems and structures and our familiarity with routine, the young boy's plight reminds us of one truth we should always carry close to our hearts. Safety should never be compromised. As for Kimberly's son, he was left to pick up the pieces of his shattered childhood. His days were filled with hospital visits and therapies instead of games and laughter. He fought day in and day out to reclaim the normal life that was ripped away from him that fateful evening. His mother, watching him, knew that their lives would never be the same, but she also knew they were not alone. Their story had touched hearts, serving as a wake-up call to many. Their painful journey had imparted a valuable lesson, a lesson etched in sorrow but crucial for all, the absolute necessity of safety. In the end, the tale of the unfortunate zip ride accident is a sobering reminder. No matter how common or routine an activity may seem, no matter how many times we've done it before, safety checks should never be ignored. Because the cost of a single oversight can be a lifetime of suffering, the price is simply too high. Let us know in the comment section what you think about this story, and don't forget to watch other videos of ours.